Hi everyone and welcome back to Curly and Yarny. In today's video, I will be weaving on my very old Counterbalance Loom. So let's get started. So we haven't seen that loom in quite some time on the channel, so I just want to do a long story short. So I was gifted this loom, and for me that was a great opportunity to learn how to assemble this loom and try to give it a second life. So this loom is probably close to 100 years old, so it has seen some years go by. So I have made two videos about how I put it back together and about the first thing I wove on it. So I will link both of those videos in the description down below. But for today's video, I will mainly focus on what I'm weaving on it right now and where I am at with this loom today. So today's project is to make some dish towels. So the first project I made was actually just a simple like a test run, and it was pretty narrow. So now that I have warped it for dish towels, so those are about 24 inches wide. My loom is 36 inches wide, so I get a better idea of how the loom weaves basically. Also I wanted to make a project that would be longer, so this way I could test a bit more of all of the parts basically that go into function, like the brake system and stuff like that. Oh, and something else, it moved. It was actually set up at my parents' place in a very dark basement, but since then I have moved it to my apartment here. So now it is in a much better looking corner and I'm actually going to get to weave a lot more on it than if it would have stayed over there. So let's talk about the dish towel project. So far this warp I actually used 8-2 cotton in 4 different colors. I've also warped for about 3 dish towels. We'll see how much I will actually be able to weave. I got a bit of waste at the beginning because of some mistakes I made while winding my warp in the first place. But at least I'm sure I'm going to get at least 2 good sized dish towels and maybe 1 smaller hand towel, but we'll see about that a little bit later on. So the warp is 8-2 cotton, but for the weft I have used so far only cotton linen. So the first towel, we cannot see it so much right now, it's been rolled up onto the front beam. For this one I only use a cotton linen in the color natural, so basically there were no color applied to this yarn. Then for the second dish towels I decided to use the exact same colors in the warp into the weft, but yet again in cotton linen. So those are kind of my favorite colors, so I happen to have those colors in many different kind of yarns and I got them all from Maurice Brassard. So for the second dish towel, since that I am weaving with the same color, I'm trying to replicate what I see in the warp into the weft, so this would make a bit of a plaid effect. And for the last one, well, we'll see once we get there. So let's just jump on the loom right now, see how it's looming, and let's just keep weaving this dish towel. Just done this part of the pattern, which represent basically those two parts in the warp. I have started weaving a little bit with the natural color, and I will keep going, so let's get to it. So my loom weaves fine, however it still needs a little bit of TLC in some parts, and one of those parts is the fact that the beader doesn't actually bead exactly straight, and it doesn't show so much if I weave all in the same color, but here I've started to make stripes in order to do the pattern, and we can see it a bit more obviously. So if we look at the let me just zoom down a little bit more. So if we look at this golden yellow stripe here, so the first stripe I made in this pattern, we can see that it is already well on this wooden part here of the loom. So right here, so it has almost half an inch in already. And if I look at it on the other side, the same stripe, it has yet to come on the wooden part here, so it's almost half an inch of difference here. From this angle, the camera, I realize it really doesn't show so much because it's already at an angle, but I'll show you when it's exactly straight at it, and then you see that it is a little bit crooked. So I am trying to compensate a little bit while I beat, but this is definitely something that I would try to look into it and try to find a solution. If you know what would help and what could be done in order to help my beater beat straighter, please let me know. I am all ears. I have a feeling that maybe it's about the screws at the bottom, so I feel like they are not exactly the same tightness, but maybe I'm wrong, so let me know if you have any idea. For the pattern, for this one, I'm doing something very simple. So I have actually threaded my heddles into a straight draft, and I am also weaving a straight thread link. So I'm basically doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is a balance, a twilled. So nothing complicated in this project. Alright, so I have now reached the part of the pattern where I'm going to do the what's in the middle of the warp. So the first thing I'm going to do is to weave 4 peaks of black. Let's get to it. Now I weave this part here, which is olive. After 2 inches of green, I will weave 1 inch and 3/4 of golden yellow. Now that the yellow is finished, I will do 4 picks of the natural color. And then it's back to the golden yellow. Finally, I weave 4 picks of black. 1 is already on, so 3 more to go. So this marks the 40-inch mark, so the towel would be done. My pattern in the weft is nowhere as symmetrical as in the warp, and for today's project I'm fine with this. This is just a normal dish towels, and this will not be sold. It's mostly just to try everything with the loom and get some towel in at the same time out of it. So I will put some scrap yarn and we will start the final towel. So for the last towel, I'm going to weave it with some cotton chenille or chenille. This yarn, I've used it several times before and I really like the effect it gives. It's a bit thicker than my 8-2 cotton that I've used in my other towels, and I feel like it's going to give me some thick hand towels, so then all of my towels will kind of like be in a set if you want to. So let's just keep weaving. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I will weave all of it in this color. So this is the same color as the golden yellow that I have at some places inside of the warp. So now let's get weaving. Look at this texture, it is so soft. Alright, so now all the towels are finished, I have been hemmed. So here's towel number 1, so all in the same natural color in the weft. Then we have towel number 2, where we have the plaid pattern that repeats in a funny way, but sometimes it just happens this way. And then we have the third towel, which is a bit thicker, which would be more like a hand towel, a little bit on the shorter side for my taste, but it would still work great. I believe I could just put like a little something here to hook it, and then that would make a great towel this way. So I'm very happy with how it turned out. So this project was mostly a project to really test out my loom and see what needs to have some work done on, but at the same time it's fun to have some dish towels at the same time. Also, I just wanted to let you know that I will provide a link to my website in the description down below, and on this link I will provide all the information about this pattern for free, so feel free to go and check it out. So if I go back to the loom itself and what I feel it might need, there's a few pieces that needs a bit of TLC. First one, I did not mention it at the beginning of the video, but the upper roller used to make a squeaky sound that was super high pitched and very annoying. And here's a few clips of the sound it used to make. So I just put in a few drops of sewing machine oil and it solved everything. Now it makes no sound at all, so that's a plus. Also, I've mentioned the video that doesn't bead straight. The final issue that I have with the loom right now, and I think it's kind of a big one, is a rust issue. So I've mentioned in one of the first video that the bars here on the shaft that holds the heddle together are rusty, but from what I could see, the heddles were not rusty. Of course, I was looking at heddles in the very dark basement of my parents' place, so I didn't see any rust at that moment. But when I moved it here, I realized that some heddles started to show signs of rust, especially in the on the fourth shaft. So that worries me. I don't really want to be weaving with rusty heddles. So I'm still brainstorming what would be the better course of action from now on. So for the bars here, I will try to get rid of a bit of the rust. I know that rust is just like something that will come back, but still try to get rid of a little bit of it so that it would look a little bit better. And I'm thinking about switching my heddles for test love heddles. So test love heddles are made of a kind of a string of a synthetic fiber, so this will not rust and it should be pretty resistant too. So I'm thinking this would be the best bet to prevent rust on going onto the eye of the heddles and then onto my my fabric. So I'm not exactly sure yet how I'm going to do all of this, but I'm keep brainstorming. I keep try to read here and there people who've done similar things to see what was their solution and what they learned from it. Other than that, I really enjoy weaving on this loom. It worked very well. Maybe one last thing I could share about this loom too is maybe the brake system. So this is kind of the oldest model of brake system as I understand it, and it is very simple. It's like a metal bar going from the brake pedal onto the back beam, and that's it. So when I release the brake, it tends to have like a big amount of warp that just gets looser, and then I need to wind up quite a lot, but it still works pretty well. Although I am aware this might not be the newest, most perfect system, it still works and I still managed to weave stuff on it. It's just something maybe to be mindful of as I was weaving. So this is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully soon enough we'll have other projects woven on this loom, and until then I wish you a lot of fun and see you soon. Bye bye.